Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Alright, so this video is to showcase the journals that I have in my Etsy at the moment and hopefully to inspire you along the way. Alright, let's get started. Alright, let's start with this one. I'm calling it a Franken Journal because of the cover and the Franken Franken paper that I've used for the cover. And this is all sewn, of course. It's not a digital or anything like that. It's actually sewn. We'll go in a moment. Pop this back in. Alright, so first of all, the closure is an elastic, and it doesn't have to, you don't have to undo this bow because it's an elastic, so you can just take it off and put it back on. Here there's a book plate that says journal, of course, and then inside is lined with upholstery fabric. Just so all of that sewing that I did is obviously not showing through on this side. The cover is somewhat pliable and flexible. The journal also comes with this bag of things, all different sorts of stuff that you can use, throughout your journal. So I'm going to pop that aside and let's have a closer look. Alright, so here we have a pocket at the front, and this journal belongs to a tag. A note from the bookmaker. This is from Gibbet Neary. You'll have to go to her website if you wanted to get this note from the bookmaker. I will put all of the specifications of the journal in the Etsy listing. Here is an envelope and there's a paper inside. And this charmed paperclip. Is that an expression? Charmed paperclip? A paperclip with a charm. Alright, so all different types of, tea-dyed paper and stuff like that. Here there's a little cluster with some lace. And that's sewn directly onto the page. Oh, actually it's not. It's sewn onto that paper, which is then glued onto the page. So there's no stitches on this side. This here is a page of different papers that I stitched together. Look at this beautiful. Anyway, I'm gonna try and hurry up. Here is this is some sort of a printable. Now you know that I don't use printables, but I got this from some packet or something that I purchased, or maybe even a journal that I purchased. So I've popped it in there, and here is a beaded paperclip. Just one little bead on that paperclip. I'll try not to bore you to death with all of the different little details. Here is a journaling spot. Just did some gluing and sewing and stuff like that. Some paper layering over here. Book page. This is a pocket over here, and then this one here you can't really see, but it's days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the back. And then on this side here, this is a pocket with a paper ruffle, and then this is some type of vintage greeting card, because it's from Hallmark. I don't know what year, but it's definitely not modern, And then some, bits and pieces that you can use throughout your journal. Here I've tucked in some tag. This is from a beautiful poem book, mason jar that you can further embellish. So you know that I like to have, a good balance between embellishments and things left for you to embellish. Okay, so this is I have a video on these fans that I make into bookmarks and tassels and that sort of thing. So I will link it down below. Here is the middle signature or middle page. I was going to say pignature, middle pignature, and I have tucked in some, paper for writing and some quotes here and all sorts of different things. So this one can be moved around, and you can see, I'm sure you can work it out, but anywhere you put it, it can lead you directly to the page where you want to go. So for example, if you're up to here, I think you get the picture. Now, what pignature are we up to? All right. So let's keep going. This is a hidden paperclip. I have a tutorial on this. So this can be taken off and it can go anywhere, and it's actually a paperclip. And so it doesn't open all the way, and you can use it it can be like a bookmark too. And you can use it to tuck things in and all that sort of fun stuff, move it around, whatever. So beautiful little tuck spot. This is from that poem book. And I've done sewing, you can't see here because I used a very light thread, but some of the pages, not all of the pages, but some of the pages have sewing. You know that I like these little details all throughout. And slowly coming to the last page, here's a little ruffle over there. This one here is a journaling spot, and another charmed little paper clip. See? Paper clip with a charm hanging off. The paper clip has been charmed. I hope this journal is charming you. Alright, here we go, a little journaling spot. That Franken page. And here's also sewing. You can see it a little bit better on this side. I like this little zigzag effect, and then it's got these perforations in the middle. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but I really like it. Okay, and then over here is a tuck spot, a pocket, and journaling spot, and a tag in there. And then this is the last page. Handmade by Natasha from Treasure Books. And there we go. So I'll show you the back cover, the cover once again. Quite a bit of sewing here, so all little bits of paper that I have placed onto, I think it was some cardstock or something like that, and just glued them on, sewed all around, all that kind of fun stuff, and and then I just hid everything and lined the inside of the journal with this upholstery fabric. The closure will slip right back onto the journal because it's elastic. And that completes this first journal that I have to show you. Okay, this one here I think I'm calling Vintage Doily Felt Journal because it's all of the stuff that I used inside is vintage stuff. And I've got a doily here on the cover, and this is some type of a felt fabric. So I have lined it all with some scrapbook paper. And this here is all glued down and sewn. Actually, it's just glued down, but it's sewn here on the spine when I was binding the journal. Then you can see that I tried to, go through the binding right in those holes. Anyway, this here is the closure, ribbon closure, and it can't actually be removed. I might have even sewn that. Yes, I did. I sewn that here. I'm currently in the process of onion dyeing some paper. If you notice any yellowness in my fingers, that's why. That's my next video. Alright, so first of all, this journal will come also with a pack of different types of little goodies and things like that. I'm not going to point out every single little bit. So here, beaded paper clip. This here is an envelope, so you can pop stuff in there as well. And this journal belongs to. And this actually is from a book that I finished reading. I wouldn't recommend the book, it was a total waste of time for me, but I read it anyway. I have a thing with reading books. I have to finish them for some strange reason. So anyway, the book actually fell apart, literally fell apart. And I thought I could use the front cover of the book, so I did. I made it into a journaling spot. So there we go. But anyway, I think it looks nice as a journaling spot. The book was quite large, like quite thick. So that's probably, and not that much fun. Well, it wasn't that bad. But anyway, let's keep going. Edith Holden page here. Over here, paperclip is holding this closed, and I just popped some stuff in. Most of the stuff in here that I've used, just want to show you this. This opens up, and then this opens up. You can have it as two separate pages, but I don't know, just like that effect. So most of the things in here are vintage things that I received in a box from, I need to check the name. Okay, it's called Cheery Bird Vintage. So it's in a subscription kind of a box thing. And some sewing here. I did a video on that. Here we've got some journaling pages that I've made out of book pages from Reader's Digest, and a pocket here, doily. And most of the books that I use in my journals, I actually have a lot. It will take me years to go through those books. Here's a vintage postcard. Most of the books have been rescued. They were discarded by a library. This here is a tag, and they were taken to be incinerated. Hundreds of books left out in huge tubs in the rain. A lot of the books had to be thrown out, but a lot of them I have kept. All just different types of paper in here. So anyway, don't feel bad when you see book pages in journals. If only you knew how many books libraries throw out. This is actually also from a book, but it's the things that were happening in 1908, August 1908, and it's kind of like a vintage, but it's not actually vintage. It's from a modern day book, and I've just dyed the pages. So as I was saying, yeah, don't feel bad about, I get comments about how can you rip up books and all that sort of stuff. So there you go. That's where my books come from. Here is the middle of the signature. What do we call it? The pignature. That's the middle pignature. All right. And back to Cheery Bird Vintage. So I received a box from them. They do a subscription. I think it's a subscription service. And a lot of the things in here, like this paper for sure. This is from someone else that I received. This is actually also vintage. One of my lovely subscribers sent this to me. And I have a few pages. And I'm not going to use them all. I'm going to keep some. But I sat down and marveled at this handwriting. It was in 1930. And I just imagine somebody sitting down in 1930, nearly 100 years ago, at their desk with their little pen, writing some things that are important, and they are no longer important. So, I was pondering such questions, big life questions, like what was, going through, let's pretend it's a man, what was going through his mind and what was bothering him on that day, September the 12th, 1930, what was bothering him? I'm sure he had some worries. And are those worries important today? Absolutely not. So will my worries be important in 100 years time? All right, enough of that chit chat. So here is a hidden paper clip. Once again, I have a tutorial I'm going to link down below. So it can be, it's a paper clip. So everything that you tuck in is not going to fall out. And also you can move it around, use it as a bookmark. Tuck spot here as well. What's going on here? Maybe that was tucked in there. It was, and then it fell out when I took that off. All right, let's keep going. So all of the specification of the journal will be in that Etsy listing, number of pages and all that sort of thing. This here came from the Flow magazine, and I just backed it onto some tea-dyed paper and made it into a large journaling spot. It's really fun sort of seeing these things throughout a journal. This is from a book. Baking paper. I just, love the sound of baking paper. So I put it in there. And here is another pocket with tea-dyed doily. And just some more things that came in that vintage box. And here's a postcard from 1958, which is considered vintage. I mean, honestly, I think it's 25 years. Anything that's older than 25 years is vintage. So, I'm vintage. 1958 wasn't that long ago, but it's considered vintage. So here's that page as well. Another one of those, And the sewing around. What have we got here? An embossed tea sprayed envelope and a vintage postcard that has not been filled in or written on. Edith Holden Page, some coloring books that I've tea-dyed because I just really love the look of them. And, if this was my journal, I would actually use that. I would actually color it in. Handmade by Natasha. So you can see here, this is some type of a felt fabric, and I have reinforced it to make it somewhat sturdy. Still pliable, but it's quite still sturdy. And I have reinforced it with cardstock and then scrapbook paper, quite good quality scrapbook paper. It's all sewn around, and then obviously the doily here at the front. So I'll just show you when you open it up, just so you can visualize. You can see that doily. It was perfect for this journal, perfect size. And then in this bag, I've popped in, a lot of these things that were left over from that box. Keep forgetting the name for some reason. But yes, I've all of the little things that were left over, I've popped them in here for you. So, what's going on here? There we go. All right, let's move on. All right, so here is the next journal. So first off, I'm going to say that I made this journal when I first started making journals. This was before I started tea-dyeing paper. So all of the paper inside is not tea-dyed, not stained in any way. So I just wanted to point out that I was quite new at making journals when I made this journal. But I do remember it taking a whole lot of work. So this is the closure here. It's like a little bit of an elastic lace that goes around this button. The back cover. This is all hand painted with some pink lilac acrylic paint, and then I did some splashing, and then you can see this fabric. I hand cut the fabric, and then I glued each one of these little bling pieces, glued them on by hand. Same with these ones here. I hand stitched this. I actually have a video on hand stitching on paper if you want to have a look. Here as well, I've got some beads happening on the spine, and all of these here are hand rolled paper beads. And then obviously some of these other beads are not hand rolled paper beads. You'll be able to tell the difference. This is an extra baggie of little goodies, a little surprise for you. So I will put that on the side. And I'm going to point out some things in this journal, and the price will reflect. Okay. The first thing that you may notice, and may not be a huge deal to you, but warping of the paper. So some of the paper will have some warping, and that's because I wasn't using acetone-based glue. I was using water-based glue, and of course, water-based glues will warp your paper. That's the only thing, okay? I have put some corner protectors on the journal, and then here, just hiding, I guess, the whatever is holding that button in place. All right, so I'm pointing that out, and like I said, the price reflects. So this is a pocket here, and this opens up, and you'll see stamping and things. I mean, this is quite different to what I do now. I've held on to this journal for a very long time because I do like it, and it is close to my heart. And you can see here the pages, some of the long pages, they've been hinged in order to fit the size of the journal. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm just going to keep flipping. Here's an envelope with a little quote there. I just did some fun stuff on the side here. The journal is quite long, so here's a little embellishment there. Pocket here with some little bits and pieces in there. Then over here, also some journaling spots and things like that. This pocket is glued on the sides. Nowadays, I would sew all of that, but that is glued. Some tags over here on that butterfly. This here is actually me using one of these embossing tools and acrylic paint, and, you know, being a crazy mad woman doing this on some paper. So obviously the journal is called Lilac Avenue, or Lilac Avenue. There's some paper here, and you know, it's got a lot of purple or lilac in it, and just different little bits and pieces. This one opens up. Some beautiful corner punch there, or page punch I should say, and a little tag. And then here as well, I love these. So I glued pieces of fabric to make this look like a flower, or to make this flower, and then I hand sewed all around, you can see, and then added beads at the end. So they're like journaling cards, you know, you can write on the back, and I did paint here, and I can see that I've done some gluing some tissue on to give it that raised effect. And then same with this one here as well. That's the back, hand sewn, these little beads. I actually remember, I can see myself when I was doing this. You know how you see something and it takes you back to exactly where you were at that moment. Well, I remember I was at my parents' house and I was sewing. All right, here this opens up. All right, not the best looking thing in the world, so let me just point out. That's a bit of leather. And then this little booklet, which is really cute. And then this opens up, and inside is all different types of paper, some vellum, and just, you know, different pages that you can use for writing. So I really do like this journal. It's just some things. It's just the fact that, you know, there's the warping on the paper. I'm not a huge fan of the warping of the paper. So there we go. That's that one. So this one in my shop will be called Lilac Avenue Large, because the next one I'm going to show you, this one here, is Lilac Avenue Small. So it's quite a lot smaller, and this one comes with all sorts of stuff. So let's go with the journal first. So I made those two at the same time, but I don't remember any warping on this one. So okay, so here's the spine, and lots of beads over here. You can see beads up the top, you can see beads down the bottom, and then beads over here. Once again, you know, I've glued this fabric on, and then I glued each one of these little things on, and this is all covered with this stuff, glossy accents. I don't think nowadays I would spend so much time on little details like that. See all of those? Alright, and here's the back, and the corners have been protected, and then here is the closure of the journal. Tangled myself up. Alright, and then inside, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signatures and all sorts of things, you know, all of these tabs up the top and just little things throughout. I won't flip every single page. It's just, you know, little details throughout the journal, clipped in and pages embellished and all that sort of stuff. And the reason why there's no warping in this one, oh look at this, fun, is because I don't think I glued in a whole lot of things. Maybe here I did, this is glued in, so let's see, there'll probably be, there's a little bit of warping. It's quite a lot smaller, so that's probably why there isn't so much. Here is the back cover, or the back of the journal. So just some little embellishing that I did. Oh, and this one here, cool. All right, so that's the journal, and then in this box we have, I forgot what I put in. Let me just, okay, so this is just a box. This is a box that had a correspondence set, it says, and it had letters and stuff like that. It was just, you know, just a box, but I've used it to put little bits and pieces, just different things. Oh, it's upside down. Just different little things that you can use. So here's a little pocket thing sewn around and a booklet inside. Here's another little booklet. So this just slips off. It's a bit of elastic that slips off, and I've got that charmed, what are we calling it? Charmed bulb pins. Okay, just a little booklet with some lilac pages in there, lilac paper, you know, to go with the theme. Origami envelope, a little coin envelope, a little thing here, and you know, this beautiful, oh, someone's ringing the bell. How very rude of the postman to ring the bell while I'm in the middle of filming. But I forgive him because he brought me a parcel. But now I had to wash my hands. We're in lockdown still here, so. Alright, hands washed, okay? Another little lilac envelope. What else have we got? Another little something in here. Little thing. And then some journaling spots. And then, what's this? Some sort of a postcard. And a little, now I can't think what I called these, but it's on a bob pin. You can hang them on things, and a little embellishment you can use throughout your journal. All right, all of that can go back in there. Oh, I also had this. I call this a fun paper pack, a fun little paper pack. I think that's what I call it in my head. And it's just different little bits and pieces that you can use. There's a little heart doily that you can pull out and use in your journals, clearly, because that's what we're all about. So it's just different little things. Was that in there? No, it wasn't. That, then I've got this lace in there, and this here, what am I calling this? Fiber art bundle. That's what I'm calling it in my head. And it's all different types of fibers. There's about 1 meter each. So there's 9 meters of different fabrics that you can use for tops of tags and closures for journals, whatever you know, whatever you feel like. And I think having a little bundle like this, you know, and all this eyelash trim and all that sort of stuff, it's really fun. We do use a lot of that in our journals, so I have included that. And also because I wanted to bring everything to 500, I wanted to use every single gram of the box, of the parcel that I'm sending to you. And these are quite light. Okay, so these are all of the journals available in my Etsy shop at the moment. I will leave the link to my Etsy down below. I hope you guys feel inspired. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!